What is up, guys? This is your Sea Dog, and you're watching Miller Time Motorsports, where dirt meets rubber. And today is going to be a video. I just wanted to give you guys an update. Obviously, I haven't been racing. You guys haven't been seeing me post. I just want to kind of explain myself, show you the car, and we're just going to talk about some stuff. You know, the big thing in this video is going to be what it costs to race, or at least what it cost me to race. So stay tuned for that. So as you can see, the car is still sitting here in the weeds, not in the garage as it has for a long time now. Not fixed. She's still broke in a bunch of different areas, but yeah, this is still what I'm dealing with. It's just, I'm sorry to say it, everyone, but I'm sure you guys probably already know, but I am done for the season. There's just, between time, money, not having a garage, it's just not working out this season. So we're gonna have to give her a break, but the plan is we're gonna build this, we're gonna tear this puppy down, and we're gonna rebuild it for next year. Next year we're gonna hit it hard for sure. She's still sitting the way pretty much it came off the track. Still got the 406 in there. That's actually gonna be coming out in the next week or two, I would say. I'm gonna pull the motor out, pull the tranny out, and we're gonna make that motor legal. So that motor is not legal for where I race, but we're gonna make it that way. So pretty much all I'm gonna do is new cam, new heads. That's about it. And that motor actually only has like probably 16 nights on it since it's been fresh. So we're gonna keep running it for next year, and we may build a spare, but just with money being such an issue, I decided we're gonna keep this motor, at least the short block of it. And yeah, that's gonna be the motor we use. Basically, guys, like I said, just what we're gonna do now is completely strip her down and rebuild her pretty much. I'm gonna, especially like I said, with money being an issue, we're gonna reuse as many good parts as we can, but anything that's questionable, we're gonna try to get rid of. But the body's actually in decent shape. What I'm gonna leave, I'll probably leave most of the body the way it is. Obviously replace that door, but we'll see. We're gonna see what we can do this year. We got a long year ahead of us, so we have plenty of time to work on it. The only problem is still don't have a shop, but I'm working on that. That's just a different discussion, but hopefully soon I'll have a garage we can actually work out of, because it's retarded working here. But one way or another, we will be racing next year, so we will find a way to get this thing rebuilt, that's for sure. All right, guys, so now we're just gonna kind of do a run through of what it personally has cost me to race, and this might be something for someone that wants to get into racing, that if they're just curious to see how much honestly, what is like like I said, it fluctuates either way. You can spend way more money than me, you can spend way less money than me. It's all on different people's experience, but this is my experience of how much it costs to race, what it's cost me. So like I said, for someone that wants to get started racing, they can get a good idea. Or like someone that just they race a different class, they want to see what this class is all about, or just our local rules and whatnot. But so this is my experiences of how much it's cost so far. Real quick, guys, I'm gonna cut you off for a second. I just want to point out, I apologize, I just said that video, and be ready for the clicking of the pin. And you might not have noticed until I pointed out, but it's pretty bad. I apologize for it. When I'm talking, I do things, I flicker around, you know, so I apologize for that, but get back to it. You're starting off completely from scratch. First thing I do is, this is talking about stock cars. Bombers is what we race, bombers. So our rules is, it's pretty much it's got to be at least for us, a lot of people are allowed to run Camaros and stuff like that. It's got to be a stock chassis. It's got to be at least 108 inch wheelbase. That's one for us. We are not allowed to run any sports cars. So can't run Novas, Firebirds, Camaros, all that stuff. We're not allowed to do that. So pretty much where we run, the only thing that anyone runs is a Monte Carlo or a Cutlass. It's a G body pretty much. That's all we run. Some people, you can get away with running a Malibu, a Chevy Malibu, the older ones. That works, but besides that, it's got to be that base. It's got to have a stock floor pan, and a stock firewall for us. And then other than that, it's got to have a stock body. They're supposed to be like stock, like an actual body off of the original car is what it's supposed to be. And then motor wise, we have pretty open rules compared to a lot of other places with our motors, really, which makes it a lot more expensive. So it has to be a GM block. It's got to be a GM heads and GM factory intake manifold. And other than that, it's pretty open. No roller motors, can't run roller cams, can't have roller lifters and all that. So yeah, that kind of sucks. And roller rockers and all that, can't do that. But other than that, it's literally just completely open. Other than that, I mean, you can any kind of a lot of us run. A lot of people are just want to know what kind of motors most of us run. They have to be, since we are running pretty much all GM Chevy cars, they have to be GM, which is Chevy, General Motors motors. So we run either a 350 block or a 400 block, but almost all of them, I mean, no one has a stock motor in my class. It's going to be stroked, de-stroked, bored, I mean, everything. But other than that, you can go pretty much crazy with that. So the only like major rule we have is a claim rule. So I may be wrong if anyone's watching this and like, you're an idiot, it's not how it works, but this is the way I understand how it works. So you have to be under 25 in our class. It's $2,500 claim rule on your motor. So what happens is if you run storage. But anyway, so the basic concept of how it works, I don't know exactly, I'm probably wrong, but so basically if you're in like you win or something, the top 3 or 5 or something like that can claim your motor for $2,500. So how it works is they give you $2,500. They take your long block. So you don't get accessories, you don't get front accessories, you don't get the carburetor, you don't get your air cleaner, you don't get headers. It's literally just the block plus the heads. But they give you $2,500. They take your motor, and I'm pretty sure you have to give them your motor. But then if you don't accept the $2,500 to take your motor, you lose all your points. So that's something that we do to try to keep it. It's something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but it's supposed to be a $2,500 long block. That's how we keep it competitive. But I'll tell you right now, that ain't the fact, the truth. I promise you that since I've been around the whole racing crowd, I've never seen anyone actually claim a motor, and I don't think anyone really does. I mean, it's like people have a lot more money in their motor and they just don't claim it. So that's pretty much our rules. But yeah, we'll just get into, if you're starting out, what you got to buy. So for starters, obviously you need a chassis. So it fluctuates up and down, but on average for a good pure stock bomber chassis, I would say you're going to spend around, for a decent one, like $2,500 probably. So $2,500, that will get you like pretty much just the frame, roll cage already in. I mean, it can come in any different stage. It could have radiator, it could have, might or might not have a transmission, something you got to deal with. I mean, you just got to look around. You can get all kinds of deals, but could come with extra parts, could not. But I would say about $2,500 buys you a bare chassis. Might have a seat, might not. It's fuel cell. It's just all the little stuff that just add up. But a bare chassis, I'd say. I mean, I've seen people for the big time stock cars, like, you know, your medieval chassis and all that stuff, like the big ones. I mean, they're like wanting like 10 grand for a roller alone. So it really depends. But for me, I would say mine, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I paid for mine because it was a crazy deal. But I would say I probably have a $2,500 roller is what I got basically. But yeah, you got that. Well, I'm gonna kind of write things down, and we're gonna go over how much it costs in the absolute end of how much it costs. But anyway, so that's $2,500 for a chassis, and this is something you might not think about, but most people, I mean, they're already in the race and you already have this, but something you got to worry about is a trailer. You got to have a trailer to haul your car, go buy a car, and bring it to the track and off the track and whatnot. So that's going to cost you some money, obviously. That's like, I mean, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. I mean, just depends on what you want to spend on a trailer. My trailer that I use every day is actually my dad's trailer, so I didn't have to pay for that. But that thing's, I think it was like $3,000 trailer. Then you got to add a lot of, it's nice to have a winch. It's something else, because the truth of the matter is, when you're racing, a lot of times it's not going to be running at the end of the night or something like that, and it's a pain in the ass to get in the trailer without a winch. So a winch is a big one that's nice to have. So I mean, I'm not going to add that in the total, but that's something you got to think about, is having a trailer and a truck, obviously a truck to pull it. So you have to think about that. That sucks. But going back to the motor, so obviously you have a chassis, you need a motor. It can just go, you can go crazy with it, or you can be dirt cheap with it. Like I said, we got the $2,500 claim rule, but to be honest, I know no one follows that hardly. I can tell you from fact, just from seeing some guys sell their bomber motors on Marketplace and stuff like that from our class, there's guys that have, I've heard many people say that they have well over 12 grand, 13 grand, 15 grand in their motors. It's just, I mean, I'm not saying it's everyone's like that, but there's quite a few people that it's just the fact that if you want to compete, it takes one thing to race, it's another thing to compete. I mean, there's big money. Me personally, the motor I have, it came with another car I had, and he claimed that he has about $8,500 in that motor. And I actually, at first I was like, there's no way, but now I actually believe it. So $8,500 in my motor alone, just the way it sits, is just the long block pretty much. But I mean, it was running, but he said $8,500. I mean, some of you guys might run the crate motors, which is a good way to keep it competitive, but me, we're open motor, so you can do a lot with that. Next year, I already told you next year I'm going to be running my same motor, but if I were to build another motor, I would say I would be spending around $3-4 grand probably if it was me building one. But I mean, it just goes different from person to person. Something else that's going to save you money is motor building. Is something that's just a passion of mine. It's just something I've always loved. I've just always been around it. So that's something, building a motor, that's something I'm proud of doing, is building my own motor. Because a lot of the guys that race, they obviously, or a lot of people have their motors built, and that's just kind of a pride thing for me, is that I did it on my own. And for now on, I'm gonna be building my own motors. That will save you a ton of money if you have the ability to do that. Obviously, I just watched a Hunt the Front video, and they're talking about one of their motors they just had rebuilt and freshened up, and it ran them $3 grand just to have it fresh, like go through probably just bearings and sealed it off. That's it. So that's a lot of money, and you're gonna save money by building your own motor. So with my motor I have right now, not including the one I blew up, I mean, guys, it's crazy. The price goes up. I blew up a motor this year, and I had another motor. This is a more expensive motor, but I would say I probably have $2,500, $3 grand in that motor, because it came with the car I had. So I'm just gonna put another $2,500 for that's gonna get you a budget motor. It's not gonna be great, but for open motor, that's about what I probably have in mind. Plus, you gotta have a spare, like I said. That's something else, a cheaper spare. It's something you don't have to have, but it's nice, the ability to put another motor in real quick. So I mean, that can go up $2,500, $3 grand. I mean, you just don't know. So you got your motor, that's something, and you gotta buy transmission. Most of us run Saginaw 3-speeds, or the Saginaw Muncie transmissions. They're manual transmissions. Some of us run power glides. But to be honest, I don't really, all my transmissions I've ever had came with the car. I would say I've got a Muncie that I'm gonna be putting in next year. What I've seen is like in between like $800 and $1,000 for a fresh one, for a good one. So we are allowed to run like the Burt, the racing transmissions, Burt, what's the other ones? Brim, and all the, like, there's racing transmissions. That is going to be pretty pricey if you want to get into that. I know for like just a one that's been used, I seen one for sale for $1,000 the other day. I mean, it was an old one, needed to have gone through, but from what I heard, it is nice that with those transmissions you can send them off and have them rebuilt for like literally like $100, and that's it. So that's something that's it just depends on what you want to spend. So I would say, like, for just a ready to go out transmission, the kind I would have, maybe $500 I would say for a tranny. These numbers aren't just exact, it's just kind of going off my knowledge, just thinking about it. I mean, what it could be. So but it adds up in the long run. Then on top of that, you got your safety equipment. That's something else your car might have came with. So you got your seat, Obviously, it all depends on what you want to spend on that. I recommend, if you're getting into racing, definitely you need a full containment seat. The cheapest one I found, I put the cheapest real full containment you can find on Speedway. It's a Kirky seat, and it's $500. That's what I put in my car, and I love it. But you can go crazy with that. You can have them custom made, all that. So that's just the seat. We'll call it, that's $500 right there. And then you have your seat belts. They expire every so many years. So that's something you got to continue to buy. I don't remember exactly what those cost. But that's something, like I said, they expire, and they won't let you run anymore. And then with that, you got your fire suit. Something else, it just depends on how much money you want to spend. I have literally the cheapest fire suit money can buy. It was like, I got a whole kit. It was like, I want to say like $100. It's the full fire suit. It gets your fire retardant shoes. It's got gloves, and that's something else you got to worry about buying. But I would recommend, when it comes to safety stuff, I have a problem with that. Don't skimp on the safety stuff. I normally do because I don't have any money left from building my car. So that's something I recommend not doing. Just, that's something else. Your helmet. A big one is, I also bought the cheapest helmet money could buy. That's got to be rated for most tracks. It's got to be rated at a certain, the Snell rating or whatever. That's something else you got to keep buying. Next year, 100%, I'm going to be upgrading my safety equipment, because it's really just, it's kind of pathetic what I have right now, and that's something you don't want to skimp on. So you got that Hans device. A lot of people like to run the Hans device. That's something you don't have to have, but it's just something, you know, I recommend. But yeah, all your safety equipment, that's going to add up. Let's see. So tires and wheels. That's expensive. That's something else that will get used. Tires get used every night, and wheels get junked. Like, they get hit, they get bent up, you can't reuse them. It happens all the time. So just for a set of 4, it's going to run you, I don't know. We run Hoosier E-Mods, and I think they're like 135 a piece, I want to say. And they last you, it depends, like your left rear doesn't really get any abuse. That thing will last you forever. Your right rear lasts a little bit longer, not as, it gets a little bit more abuse. Your left rear or your front, sorry, your left front and your right front. But your left rear and your right rear, they last you a night or two. Like, it's literally, it just depends on how much you want to try to use them. I know a lot of guys only run their tires for one night, and then they get rid of them and they buy a new set. That is going to be getting really expensive. So like I said, 100, and the prices are going up right now with Hoosier. But last time I was buying tires, they're like 135 bucks a piece. So that's $260, $270 just for a set of rear tires. And that's something you got to do every night. Not necessarily every night you race, but like every other night, every 3 nights, whatever you want to do. That gets expensive. And then let alone the wheels. Wheels are like, I forgot exactly. I thought they're like 80 bucks a piece for a wheel. But you got your bead locks, you got your non-bead locks. It's just, like I said, just depends on what you want to spend. They get pretty expensive too. And actually this year I went through, I mean, I only raced a couple races, and I think I junked like 3 wheels. That just happens. But yeah, there's that you got to deal with. And then, I mean, this is just kind of a basic thing, guys. But then say you go to the racetrack, you got everything you need. Your tires, I just explained that. But then fuel, if you want to run, it depends on your motor, obviously. If you have a high compression motor and you need race fuel, that is going to cost you a lot of money. Race fuel is not cheap, guys. It's not like just what you put in your car, if you guys don't know that. So 110 is what we run, most of us. I run it in my motor, 110 octane. And last time I was buying it, this could be going up to, and this is also, it depends on where you're at too. But when I was buying it, it was $8 a gallon. And I was using like maybe 8 gallons a night, something like that. So that's gonna be pretty pricey, like 8 to 10 gallons, maybe a little less. It just depends on the night, really. But $8 a gallon on fuel, and you got to buy that every weekend. That really sucks. It's just something else that adds up. But then you got everything you need in your racing. You got your fuel and everything. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to break parts. I mean, it's non-stop. It happens when you're racing. That's what racing is. I mean, I literally, the first night of practice, I had a brand new motor, completely blew up, completely junked. Like the block is done for. So that's something that you just got. Supposedly that motor cost, the green motor I had, I bought that one with the car too. That was 2,500 or 3 grand for that motor, and it lasted 15 laps probably, and it was just destroyed it. So that sucks. You got to deal with that. Like, big expenses are going to have to happen. I told you the tires and all that. Not just from wearing, they get popped. Like, the last time I went out, I had a brand new right rear, just got done freaking siping it, and it was brand new, just perfect, brand new wheel, brand new tire. Absolutely destroyed it in the feature. Like, it was just done, because it got, someone got in my rear end and it moved it and it got into my body. So that sucks. But yeah, all kinds of, like, my rear end. So something else, if you buy a chassis, you might or might not have 4 9-inch rear end. That's something you might want to upgrade with. Most of our guys run 9 inches. But yeah, the last time I was out, someone got in my rear end, tore off a trailing arm mount. Hopefully it didn't, I don't think it tweaked my axle, but it could have. Screwed up a wheel, pulled the drive shaft out, tore everything apart. I mean, it's just, there's all kinds of stuff, guys. Bumpers, you go through bumpers like crazy. Those are a couple $100 to buy bumpers every night, unless you, like I said, unless you build them yourself. Front end parts, I mean, you go through front end parts like crazy. It's nonstop. When you're racing, you're fixing it nonstop. If you guys are one of the ones that like to keep your body real nice, I obviously don't. I don't care. As long as it's moving, I don't care about my body. That's going to cost you money putting body parts on every night, because it's literally in our bomber class. It's like a demolition derby out there the whole time, especially when you don't know how to drive like me. You tend to break things, and that's what I've done so far. But yeah, you got all that, and then when you're breaking stuff, you got to have parts. If you want, especially if you want to do it by, tools. If you want to do it by yourself, you're going to have a decent amount of tools and know-how, and that's something else that adds up. Tools are not cheap. That's something else you really got to think about. Going all, guys, kind of a conclusion. I would say in my car personally, I probably have 10 to 12 grand in it. That might be a little much. It might not be quite as much as I have in it, and that's without breaking parts. So that's just going race ready, going out there to race, and I'm slow. That's not even like a huge competitive car. I would lean more toward 10 grand just without brake parts and stuff like that. Fresh set of tires, fresh set of wheels, your fuel, your motor, training, chassis, seat, everything. I would say I'm right about 10 grand, I would say. But then, like I said, you break parts and you got a trailer to buy, and it adds up. And just going, I only raced like 4 or 5 races this season, maybe not even that, I don't know. But and just imagine if you're racing every single night, it's going to get pretty pricey. I was at the race at Paragon Speedway's last race, and there were some of the races there that I was around, and they blew up a motor earlier in the year. They put a new motor in it. They blew up another motor. They built another motor that same week to put it in. That motor blew up, the fresh one, and they're gonna have to put another one in. Like, it's crazy. It's just like it, and if you want to compete, it's that much more. So that's just something else. It's crazy. But yeah, I would say 10 grand. I probably have. That's not counting tools, trailer, all that, breaking parts, like I said. But yeah, that's about it for our class. All right, guys, that's about it. That might have been a pretty boring video, but it could have been informational for someone. I don't know. I just felt like I owed you guys kind of a video. That's basically right there. That is why I'm not racing. I just cannot afford it right now. It's hard to when you got other stuff going on. So I'm done for the season, and we're going to be rebuilding for next year. So look forward to that. Something else I want to give a quick shout out. If you get made to the end of this video, I'm very shocked. But for the guys that did make it to the end of the video, go follow Old Fleming Family Racing. I give them shout outs all the time. But they just got their first stock car that they're going to be building. They got a Camaro, and that's going to be a pretty cool build. You guys got to go watch that. Obviously, we're going to make our build, but they post a lot more than we do. They're growing big time. Go watch Fleming Family Racing. They're pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, they got that Camaro they're going to start building this year. It's a lot like mine. They're actually doing a series on building the motor too. That'll be pretty neat to watch. But yeah, go check them out. They race all kinds of stuff. Like literally, you name it, they're into racing it. They want to race it. So go check that out. As for me, like I said, we're going to be building. I'd like to do a series on building a motor, but it's kind of hard not having the time. And like I said, we're not going to do a complete build a motor this year because of money. So we'll see. We're going to keep making videos, show you guys as much as we possibly can. But yeah, that's about it, guys. We are coming out with another video here soon. That's about a couple boats that we bought. So look forward to that. A couple boats, a couple quads. We've got some quads running. That's kind of more of a wrist twister side, Casey's side of the channel. But we're coming out with that, and we're actually thinking about making a separate YouTube channel for outdoor stuff. We do a lot of hunting and fishing and just outside stuff. That's pretty much our life. If we're not racing dirt bikes, or like I said, the dirt track, or in a mud truck or something like that, we are outside hunting or fishing or something like that. So that's something we're thinking about making a channel on, showing you guys some of that stuff, because we actually have a lot more knowledge when it comes to hunting and fishing than we do in racing, believe that or not. But yeah, that's something to look forward to. But other than that, I guess we'll just see you guys in the next one. Yep, that's about it. Like and subscribe, follow our Instagram, Motorsports, and yeah, just stay tuned. We're going to be rebuilding, so we'll see you in the next one.